Pro Tour London is rapidly approaching, and it is going to be the Aurora show. As I talked about yesterday, I am big on Aurora. I think she's going to do quite well, if not just take the whole thing down. But she's not the only hero on the docket to really hit those top tables. The other one, of course, being Enigma. It's two of these quintessential dangerous ladies that are sitting at the top of the meta, and really, not just sitting, they are dominating this meta. It's a two-horse race, and I have my eyes and my betting mind on Aurora, but I can't help but give a nod to Enigma, and I could definitely see her picking it up. Now, those two heroes being at the top of the meta beg a question. What answers them? What's a singular hero, or maybe a slew of heroes, that could be the answer to the question of how do I beat Enigma and Aurora? So today we're going to break down a couple of heroes that I think I would not be surprised at all to see at the top tables of Pro Tour London this weekend. Starting, of course, with the hero that I very much I am affected by a couple of weekends ago and the performance that they put up. That's Arachne slipped through the cracks. Now, here's the thing about this hero. The data, if you're looking at Talishar data, the data is showing that Arachne slipped through the cracks is rising both in popularity and win percentage. And I want you to understand what that means. More people are picking up and playing Arachne slip through the cracks. And in doing so, the overall win percentage is going up. Normally, that's the opposite. Now, here's the thing. It's not just going up for specific matchups and then going down for others. It's going up in general. The entire thing is going up. And not only that, it's actually doing okay against the main two heroes we just talked about. Let me show you. So here's the data for April. Now, I can bounce back to March, technically. Here's the data for March. And of course, Arachne slipped through the cracks is at the very, very top here. Started out last month at 7.9K games played, 48% win rate overall, and a 51% win rate into the arguable best deck in the format. Okay, so 51% is not bad at all. A 46% win rate into Enigma with very few games played. I mean, you're looking at these games played because there were so few people playing the deck. It's under 8,000 games played. If we shift over to April, and we take a look at what we're seeing here, we're already up to, in just the first 6 days of April, we are up to 3,000 games played. And the win rate has gone up already, and it's gone up significantly in the case. Well, significant. I don't know how significant you would spell this out to be. In the top two matchups. It's 52% already in the Aurora matchup and 55% in the Enigma matchup. Now, that's just raw numbers, and that's small numbers as well, because this is a dark horse hero that really is only starting to see steam now because of the result from a couple of weekends ago, the ProQuest Plus, and technically the Battle Hardened there in Milwaukee. But this is a hero that is kind of doing what some of the aggro heroes were doing right up until, like Viscerai just left the format. They're saying, I'm presenting a ton of damage, and I'm just going to race you. But the problem with Arachne slip through the cracks in doing so is you don't know how they're presenting it. It's almost preying on the inconsistency of the consistency that people are bringing to their decks. They're bringing these 4 power, or I should say 4 defense reactions that are stopping the breakpoints of 4 power attacks, namely from Aurora. They're bringing those in their sideboards, and they're saying, this is all I need. I just need to draw these and play these. But the inconsistency of knowing when and exactly what you're reacting to means that they use them inefficiently against Arachne slip through the cracks. And that aggression, combined with the probably over-tuned kit that assassins have right now, means that Arachne slip through the cracks is rapidly gaining ground in this meta, and I could see Arachne playing spoiler to this entire event. I would not be surprised to see an Arachne slip through the cracks in the top 8, and it would be probably the most exciting of all things to see Arachne slip through the cracks, not just in the top 8, but in the finals. Will it happen? I don't know, but if any of these heroes could do it, it's starting to look like it's Arachne because of the aggression and disruption and on hits and just insanity that Arachne slipped through the cracks and assassins can do. But he's not the only hero that can go fast and just kind of blindly throw out damage and wait for your opponent to do things. Because the other hero that I think is really playing on that same axis is Dash.io. Dash.io has slowly but surely gained a little bit more ground after it was essentially ruled dead when they banned High Octane. Once High Octane made its way out of the format after Worlds last year in Osaka, Dash.io kind of just fell out of favor completely. But the deck is starting to see a resurgence. If we're looking at the numbers, and I'll go back to this sheet here as I turn the screen back on. If we're looking at the numbers for Dash.io, they aren't beautiful, they aren't pretty, they're definitely not as flashy as they could have been, particularly if we're comparing it to Arachne Slip Through the Cracks. But if we're looking at those main two matchups, it's a coin flip so far into Aurora, and it's slightly favored into Enigma. Now, if we go back to March instead of looking at the just 6 days of April, and we look at how she's playing there, again, not as many people are playing this deck as something like an Aurora that saw 41,000 games played, but Dio sitting at 12,500 games played, slightly unfavored, as you see a 48%, but a 48%er into Aurora is feeling okay. And then not a terrible 48% into Enigma as well. So if your two matchups there are coin flips, you're not looking too bad, especially if those top sort of breakdown heroes are going to be what you face every day. If you, as if sitting at home, if you're someone that goes, I don't really believe in Talishar data, it's just sort of like a through line, but it's not this gospel that I have to follow. If that's where you're standing, then don't look at the data and just look at the fact that the best decks in the format, you have a coin flip matchup in. And if you, as the practiced Dash.io player, feel pretty good about those matchups and know what you're doing in them, why would you not take yourself in that matchup? So to me, these heroes can prey off of the lack of wanting to block in certain ways from Aurora by popping off with big damage and boom grenades from Dash.io, or the disruption of the Arachne Slip Through the Cracks. And they have ways to dance around board states while also still being able to provide some amount of blocking themselves. So these two heroes, to me, strike me as heroes that would very comfortably race down the competition. But there's another hero that I think has far better, more even, and even perhaps some plus matchups into the field. And if you're targeting the field alongside of those top two heroes, I can't believe I'm saying it, but you might as well take Zen. I know. Look, here's the thing. I was such a Zen believer. After the bans, I still thought he had all the answers. And he just kind of didn't, right? It didn't do a ton of stuff. But here's the thing. I know he's taken a good step back in the meta, and I know that there's a, new premier aggro deck, and, like Enigma's a little bit back. But Zen still just has so many answers for so many heroes. He can just say, I'm going to stop you this way. I'm going to do damage that way. I have Kasaya. I have Traverse. I mean, he's just good, and he has plus matchups across the board. Again, if you want to look at the Talishar data, and I'm not going to go for every one hero, but if you want to look at the Talishar data, his win percentages across the board are even or above on everything. He's feeling pretty solid into everything, and I think the greatest players that have played him so long are going to be able to take him out, especially now that we know he's not banned, take him out for his final spin and could probably do some work with him. So if you're someone that you want to see the dark horse win, it's crazy to say that Zen's a dark horse, but heck, at this point he is. But he's not the only one, because I got one more hero for you that I want to talk about. And he's gained a lot of ground, and I did not see this one coming, but holy crap. Thermonuclear is what Kano is going right now. Here's the problem. People are starting to say, Kano doesn't matter anymore. And then Kano players show up with like 9 Overflow the Aether Wells and say, you disrespected me. I have the combo and now you will die. And that's kind of what Kano's doing. And it's not just in tournaments, but as we saw Blazing for Lethal kind of carve his way through the field. If people aren't respecting Kano, they're going to do that. Heck, here's the thing. One of Kano's kind of bad matchups right now is actually Aurora. But even if, and this is kind of the way Aurora is built now, even if Aurora brings like Spell Void 2 in Shock Charmers and like AB3, let's say they bring that because they're assuming that they're going to run into the one Kano that shows up to Pro Tour. If they really respect it, they still don't have this critical mass of blues. They can't really play like damage prevention cards in a comfortable way because it kind of mucks up their hand. And so Kano just goes, if you have it, you have it, and more likely than not, you don't, so he blows them up, which is crazy. And again, he's pretty low into Enigma as well, unless you're a really good Kano player and you're playing the Waning Moon plan, which of course you are if you're bringing Kano to the Pro Tour, and then it's at least a little bit closer. Funnily enough, he's actually starting to really gain ground in that matchup from Talishar data, if you believe that sort of thing, for all of those that do out there. His biggest minus matchup right now is against Prism, who actually could be argued as another dark horse. And honestly, if you wanted to say, 2 more dark horses, I'll give you 2 rapid fire at the end here. The Prism is one of them. I think she is an answer to a lot of questions, especially if those questions are all aggression related, because her numbers are just better and she could really throw down. And the final one that races a lot of heroes and has a lot of equipment to rely on as far as physical damage is concerned is Fang. Fang is actually my biggest dark horse pick that I want to see win. I don't think he will, and I would honestly be shocked if he makes it to a top 8, but I bet you there's a couple of Fang players that show up and just blow people up. That being said, if I had to pick the biggest dark horse that I could actually see winning the whole thing, it's got to be Zen. Part the Mist Veil, real good. So let me know in a comment below how you feel about these heroes. Do you buy any of the hype for any of them, or am I just, out to lunch on all of this? Of course, let me know in a comment below and make the number go to the other number. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.